Okay, we're on appearance and attire. So thanks for holding out here. We got a lot of videos that you've watched so far. It's incredibly important that you maintain an appearance of professionalism, health, and healthcare. So wear the right scrubs, wear the right color of scrubs, or the right outfit for your particular job, depending on what's required, and project an image of health and healthcare, and professionalism, of course, as well. We will give you a name tag if you lose it or don't turn it in when you leave. It's going to cost you $20 off your paycheck. We will have certain areas where you wear jackets and types of jackets and all those kind of things, but we have to project an image. And if you're wearing, a snow skiing coat in the exam room, it's not going to project that image of health and healthcare. Telephones. Personal use of the telephone during working hours is not permitted. And you can return calls on your time. So when you're clocked out or you're on lunch, it's pretty simple. Client complaints. So to make it real simple, you will get them. Usually it's a misunderstanding, so all you have to do is LUG. Listen, hear them, understand. So you understand where they're coming from. Their perspective about 99% of the time makes sense. And understand, don't argue, and then get a manager. And if you're a manager, you're going to talk to that person. Then we're going to listen and understand. We're going to own what errors we made, and we're going to apologize for them. We will make errors, and we're going to be honest about them, make it better. And we're going to follow the golden rule: do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. And we're going to prevent the problem with procedures. That last step often gets missed, but our managers and our practices are incredibly skilled at looking at the situation, saying, how did that happen? Was there a lack of training? Was there a lack of procedure? Something like that. Communication with staff and clients. Again, we talk directly with each other about our concerns and that person, so I'm going to stop there just for a second and talk about how if there's a concern with that person, say you have a concern with another individual that works here. It doesn't matter whether they're your boss, whether they're a colleague, whether you're a doctor and you have a concern with a kennel member. The quickest, easiest way to address that concern is professionally at the right time. Go to that person, just the two of you, not in public, and discuss it. If that person is unreasonable, then of course you can go to your direct supervisor and talk about that. If you go to your direct supervisor about that other person, about the third person, then your direct supervisor will say, hey, wait, we need to talk to both of you guys, because we do not do these triangulated three-part conversations where I talk to you about what you're concerned about, then you leave and I go talk to the next person about what they're concerned about, and then back to the first person again. We get everybody in the room, we talk, and you can avoid that by going directly to that person. And you should never, ever, ever feel intimidated to go to another person and talk, because we're all professionals here. If you're feeling intimidated, you're either not ready for this particular job, or that person that you're trying to talk to is not ready to be working here for us. We'll move on to computer and internet usage. I'll make it real simple. If you use the internet, email, or our computers for your personal use, you will be fired. And it's unfortunate the world we live in, but we've had computer systems completely obliterated because people were checking personal email on a website for personal use. Do not ever, ever, ever use the computers or at all for your personal use. Use them only for business, because there's never a reason you should be doing that. We all have our cell phones you could get on when you're off work and get on the internet on your own time. Social networking. So we're talking about Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of thing. You have to be respectable, and just remember, it is the internet, it is in public, and if you were to project an image that potentially could damage the reputation of the practice, because these clients are going to know who you are when you're seeing them, and you have something that is inappropriate on the internet, it could affect your work here. Even though it's a personal thing for you, it's in public, and we have to protect our image and what we do, and be appropriate in the social media. Park where the employees park at each hospital. Don't park where the clients are supposed to park. We need those spots for the clients. Keys and alarm codes. So just remember, we're going to give you a key, or we're going to give you a code. If you give out your code, you're going to lose your job. If you don't return your key when you leave, it's going to cost you $500 because we got to get a whole bunch of locks remade. I hope soon that we'll have electronic codes, and we won't have to worry about that $500 rekey charge, but for now that's how it is. And then there is, in certain hospitals, an ICU cabinet, and we just give that out to certain people. And then the lockbox, obviously, that's only for doctors. Guns and weapons on premises, we don't allow you to bring your gun into the building. We personally have no problem with guns. We're in Texas. Guns are for good people is a good thing, but we certainly don't want employees working while having a gun. You certainly, by law, can, if you're a licensed gun owner, you can have your gun in your vehicle. Although clients in Texas with a concealed handgun license or a license to carry, they can carry handguns, and we don't prohibit that because those are the good guys. Personal work area. It's imperative that we remain clean and odor-free at all times, so your work area where you're working has to remain that way. It's critically important to save you time and others time, that we don't have a bunch of clutter and a bunch of dirt and odor and those kind of things. You shouldn't get personal mail here. If the media ever contacts you, don't talk to them, because who knows what's going on there. Just directly to the owner, just one of us owners. References, if someone calls and asks for a reference on a previous employee, just please send them to the executive director or the CEO or the president or the manager. Confidential information. So obviously the client addresses, the client phone numbers, the employee addresses, the employee phone numbers, all those things that the forms that you make while you're working for the company, those are all confidential and they're all proprietary, and you could get yourself in all kinds of trouble if you were to share those or contact our clients after you aren't working here, or even if you're contacting clients and people outside of work that you got that information while you were working. It's a confidential breach a confidentiality breach if you do that. Treatment of patients. Obviously, treat it as if it were your own. I would treat it better than if it were your own. And of course, that's probably number one out of everything. If you don't treat an animal well, then there's going to be troubles. Non-fraternization policies. So if you develop some sort of romantic relationship with another employee, it doesn't mean you're fired. You have to disclose it. It should never be an issue. You could be related to the person you're working with in the role that you have and the other individual. Those two positions aren't related. Those two positions don't have a personal relationship, so they just operate as if they didn't have that, although we know those two individuals are in that relationship. If it becomes a problem, obviously we would have to figure out what would work best for the hospital, but we do not prohibit that. We just make sure that it's known and that we can still work in a fair way. So, smoking. You can't be in a facility or anywhere where clients or patients are at when you're smoking in any areas where clients are watching you smoke, because this is a hospital. Let's see here. Miscellaneous staff requirements. You can read through that if you're an executive or doctor. There's certain regulations with you having visitors or pets in your office, but read through that, and and then unemployed personnel. So if you have, on number 2, if you have a friend, a family member, or a child that wants to come in and wait for you for your shift, they just need to wait in the client areas. We don't have workers' comp insurance for them. They can't be working. They can't be hanging out in treatment or offices unless these special arrangements are made. I'm going to go on to moonlighting and fraud, and then we'll hit this general operating procedures. If you have another job outside the hospital, it can affect your work here negatively. That's it. And if you want to get another job, you certainly can. We encourage it if you need to. Just make sure that it doesn't affect your work here.